Are you going to fire her up?
Yes, we're going to have a 5 minutes. Yes, you could call it medieval, I suppose. It's got some similarities.
Now it's making a noise here. What's going on here?
We're feeding water into the boiler.
Got the bell back a bit.
So this is the corridor connection.
Yeah. Swap over and take over.
That's it.
Can you actually turn round in there?
I can't.
Right. Now, John, this is an iconic machine, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's they say it's world famous,
Yeah.
and there's probably a good reason for that.
Yes.
And that's all down to marketing.
Marketing.
The whole thing of marketing.
Is it really?
Yeah. Nothing more than that. People often ask, why is Flying Scotsman so famous? And the answer is just that. It was meant to be famous. The London and North Eastern Railway had a cracking marketing department and decided that they were going to sell the name Flying Scotsman. Everything they did for publicity had Flying Scotsman stamped on it, including this engine that wasn't actually named until the year after it was built.
Is that right?
So it was named just to capture a marketing ploy for the new Crack Express service from London to Edinburgh, and vice versa.
And it worked, didn't it?
Oh, crikey, yes.
Are we going to get in the way of the volunteers' shot here? Do you mind? Can we walk through? Yes, no. Right, okay. Sorry, chaps. And this is your starring moment. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Can you put a price on you?
I will. I'm going to value it in a minute.
So we have evidence that our team are here preparing
Yes.
the locomotive for another starring role, and that's the culmination of the centenary year here at Shildon, Locomotion in Shildon. We've been celebrating the 100th anniversary of the construction of the locomotive all year for various events and trips all over the country.
Yeah.
And this is it now being prepared, ready for tomorrow, when it'll be available to the public to come and have a look at it in all its glory.
Are you going to fire her up?
Yes, we're going to have a 5 minutes, and we're going to keep it in light steam. That's always a...
What does light steam mean, John?
That's a good question. An engine really is either in steam or it isn't. It's just the amount of steam that you have on the gauge. And,
Okay.
We're not going to have much. There's no need. We're not going anywhere. We're just going to have it here for people to come and have a look at.
Now, what about her history? When was she built?
So built in 1923, or completed in 1923. They started it in 1922.
Yeah.
But it came out of Doncaster in February 1923. It's had various nips and tucks since. It's been rebuilt a number of times, but essentially what you see here is a locomotive that owes its origins back to the early 1920s.
And what was her top speed?
Well, it's the first locomotive in the world to reach 100 miles an hour, and that was authenticated in November 1934 when what they call a dynamometer card, which is a carriage with instrumentation containing that can accurately record all sorts of data, but one of those things is speed. And it was recorded at 100 miles an hour.
Wow. And that was quite something in those days, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you think that, so most people had probably travelled no faster than the horse would take them.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, it's quite an achievement.
Wow. And what is your involvement here with her?
Well, I'm the Rail Operations Supervisor for the National Railway Museum, so part of my job is organising a team of people to keep these kind of things rolling. The locomotive has been maintained for us for the last year or so by Ian Riley and Sons from Harper, and they're here with us today, in fact. But we've got a good gang of volunteers here as well who are ready to clean, get it prepared for the public to come and have a look at.
I could just see myself going up those steps, John.
So the corridor tender on this locomotive. A tender is the box on the back of the locomotive that carries the consumables. It's got coal on the top, but basically underneath that is a big tank of water.
Yeah.
And that's there to feed the boiler. But these tenders were built specifically for the non-stop runs from London to Edinburgh, or Edinburgh to London. We tend to forget that they also ran southbound as well as northbound. But the whole run non-stop would be too much for one crew. So the idea was to change crews en route, and you can't do that by just walking over the top or climbing around the sides. So Sir Nigel Gresley designed these corridors with a tender, designed the tender with a corridor so that you could walk from the coaches through to the footplate. So it's quite unique. It is, in reality, nothing more than a marketing exercise.
Again, back to marketing.
Back to marketing. Again, the LNER decided they were going to run a train non-stop in each direction between the two capital cities. Too much for one crew to do, but they did this really for publicity. So what was the benefit? None. You still took as long to get from one city to the other as you would do with trains that stopped at Newcastle.
Right.
There was no speed benefit whatsoever. It was purely about selling the idea of a non-stop train.
It's been very clever.
That's it.
Been very clever indeed. How wonderful.
So, do you want to have a look at the hold where people
Yeah.
walk through?
Yeah, come on. Yeah.
Firebox will be okay, but it's going to go wood. Yeah.
Am I following? Hello there.
Ian's doing the inside there.
So where are we going now then, John?
We'll get up quick.
Okay. Oh wow.
John will do us a picture.
I'll do you a picture.
Don't get any ideas though.
It's that kind of white paint, isn't it? You overcome with emulsion. Voila.
What's that?
Thank you. Right.
I'm too tall to go down through there.
If you're so tall, I don't stand a chance.
No, I keep banging my head.
And David's doing
I've done
there,
some of the
so
walls. Get the
Yeah,
coal
so-
dust off it.
we just need to-
Hello. Don't mind me.
Just clap now then.
Can I just push my
just-
arm in there? Can I go in?
If you just
Do
step
you mind?
in.
Hello
You're
everybody.
right,
Hello.
James, come in and film.
Would you mind, chaps?
Richard. Is that all right? Yes.
Oh, thank you very much. Bye. Wow. Okay.
Can I just come in for 2 minutes first? Sorry.
Yeah.
There's another two of us coming in, so you don't mind, just give us a couple of
Okay,
minutes.
I'm going.
You better fit the spanner than this.
Is that the wrong one? No, not there. There's another one in the toolbox. Is it open? Is it open?
John, if these guys don't mind, I'm just going to keep filming. Let this run to see what they're about to do before they fire her up. Is that all right? Brilliant.
That's the one. Yeah? Right, step one. He's going to do the rebriefing, but I wanted you to hear you first. Step one is make sure the clack is held open on the injector.
You got a light fire on it, or is
There's a lump of brass wire.
That special little hook thing that you
Ball found it holding it on.
Yeah,
We're just going to
on?
leave them on, yeah?
Yeah.
So you all need to know where it is in case it don't work. Next one is make sure the clack's open on the shut-off valve, yeah? Do not open the steam valve.
Yeah, well, we're going to come in the other end, but there's a...
If you
fail to open that,
Yeah.
you'll burst the bank which you can tender.
Yeah. So open the
Yeah,
clack,
over here.
open is it?
Yeah, I'll done it.
open it all the way, yeah.
Well,
Then on the right, when you finish,
Make sure you shut it like you do anyway.
oh, that's as far as it goes.
Right.
no, it
goes
goes
one
one
way
turn and a
around,
half,
yeah.
2 turns.
Right.
Right?
The aim of the whole
Yeah.
thing is a couple of flames that somebody can see around the door,
Yeah.
and that is it. We're
Yeah,
not
yeah.
making steam,
No.
Yeah.
we're not filling the ash pan, we're not filling the grate.
As long as you can see through lightbox, it doesn't matter.
As long as you see a few flames, that's all it's about.
Enough to do your bacon sandwiches on this.
Do not,
Yeah, enough to do bacon sandwiches on.
don't ever light it up unless it's got 3/4 of a glass or
Yeah,
above.
yeah.
Ideally, we want it top.
Yeah, in top
In the top
all the time,
one,
yeah. That's all right.
You're going to Scotch fill it now then, right up.
Yeah, well, something to the top.
Right. Yeah.
What can we do? We don't, whatever happens, don't anybody go pull
Yeah,
it and try to pull the lug if you should shear that one.
Yeah, just like
You shear that. Yeah.
Once we get it running as well, we can gag that floor right back out in the hydrant. But we're going to want people to stand on the hose to stop the wood tripping over it.
Yeah. And it never leaks, does it?
Yes, it does.
And
And
you
you
want,
hand over inspection
and you want this fire out as well?
if you can, yeah.
So you're going to try and paddle that out. Have we got any high fire
Loads
out?
of clinkers. Yeah, they're on the floor, don't they?
We'll paddle it
They're
out.
off for the clinkers.
We'll paddle it out through that door.
Yeah,
Into
I
a wheel
don't know
line.
whether you've seen the instructions yet, but it's on a morning, first thing you do, make sure you've done water in it.
Yeah.
On a night when you finish, clack shut, gauge
Isolate.
trim shut off. Yeah.
Shut this one, but leave that one open, don't
All that is just the overflow pack.
As long as nobody touches that.
Okay.
As long as nobody's touching that, then
Should be alright. Just be aware when you turn the hose on, the hose goes rock hard, the water's going nowhere, and that's open.
Yeah.
that must be open, because if that's shut,
Yeah, it's just going back pressure and put it.
yeah, if that's shut, you'll pressurise the injector, you'll pressurise the rubber pipe
Yeah.
between the engine and tender, you'll pop it,
Yeah.
which I've done before.
So best thing is, as soon as you come on in the morning, open that, do that, and that's
Well, if
it.
there's enough water in it, you don't need to touch
Yeah.
it, but yeah, you're right, open that,
Yeah.
and then turn the hose on, crack the hose on, you'll feel the hose pressurised, but that used to be a good pressure, you can go on and concrete the hose,
Yeah.
only if you push it against something.
Yeah.
Obviously, if it goes like concrete, you're probably pushing against the black end. The other good check, put your hand on the side there.
Yeah.
That'll start to pull.
Yeah.
You can't see, put your hand on the side of it, and you feel it for cold.
So, do we want to give it a blast then?
We're going to have to lay the hoses out, so we're going to have a couple of people to watch.
So is that open now? Or did you shut it back down?
Now shoot down just to then open it again. So it's getting it's like all steam valves, it's open and then back a bit.
Yeah, nice.
Right, John, we're in.
Right,
We're in. Isn't
Okay,
this
so
fascinating?
This is the helm, and that's what the ship's parts. And so you've got the back end of the boiler here. Left hand side is where the driver will sit. His job was really converting the power that was generated by the fireman's efforts into motion, keeping control of that, applying brakes accordingly. And then fireman sat this side when he had the opportunity to sit down, that is, of course. And his job was really boiler management. He was the man that was here to keep steam pressure up, but in keeping steam pressure up, you've got to also keep water levels up as well. So he's responsible for feeding water in as well as feeding coal into the fire.
So a two-man job,
Two-man job.
and it's constant work, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's both have their own responsibilities, but at the end of the day, they're both here trying to deliver passengers and freight safely to a destination. And to do that, they're both keeping a lookout all the time for signals and trackside conditions and so on.
And hand shoveling of coal throughout.
Yeah.
I mean, a real strenuous job. So the fireman would have to be probably younger and fitter and stronger, I'm guessing. Is that how it worked?
Well, generally speaking, yes, but you've got to also remember that most of the drivers, in fact all of the drivers really, had been firemen in
Right.
the past. So part of the progression was started work as a cleaner in the sheds and depots. You slowly learned the components of the locomotive, how they worked. You progressed on to be a fireman and ultimately to driver.
So how long would it take then for a man to become a driver?
It depended on, in many ways, their ability, but if you're talking about becoming a driver on something like this, on the line that this ran on, then you're probably looking at someone who was getting on towards the end of their career by the time they were in charge of this type of thing.
Because it was a great responsibility, so the man would have to have immense experience. He'd have to know this machine inside out, wouldn't he?
He needs to know the machine, but he also needs to know the railway and getting to understand where each signal is, where each set of points are, where the stopping points are, where the stations are, those kind of things, and being able to identify where you were in the dark is not an easy task when you're doing 60, 70, 80 mile an hour.
And how would they do that? Would it be simply by the clock?
No, it'd be in many cases in the dark. It's by feel. You know,
Right.
you've been on the railway long enough to get to know where you were just by maybe a click in the track or a roll or a whoosh as a bridge goes by. Something like that.
That's quite incredible. It's a real touchy-feely kind of experience, isn't it? Very far removed from modern forms of transportation today, John.
Oh, it is, yeah.
I mean, it's almost medieval compared, isn't it?
Yes, there's yes, you could call it medieval, I suppose. It's got some similarities.
Now it's making a noise here. What's going on here?
The moment feeding water into the boiler.
Grab the bell back a bit.
to that noise. It's feeling the pipe there to feel cold, how cold the pipe goes, that's the indication there's cold water going in.
Again, touchy-feely, isn't it?
Yeah, it's about touchy-feely thing.
The noises the machines made. I mean, the very early days of steam, they were called, fire-breathing monsters, weren't they? And you can understand why people in the very early days thought they were monstrous because of the noises they make.
If you cast yourself back into the mind of someone from the early 1800s who had never seen anything move faster than a horse, and I've used that analogy before, and the only way of moving goods, services about were either by horse or possibly canal boat, etc., which was fairly quiet. It was a boat at the end of the day, and it moved on water. So that's about the only means of transport that people were familiar with. Then along comes the travelling engine.
Yeah. Which must have been quite a shock to the senses.
Yeah, it's something that was completely alien to most people. Most people hadn't seen a machine, let alone a steam-operated machine, and a steam machine that moves itself, either on the road or on rails, was really quite something. So yes, a living, breathing monster.
Go on then. Where are we going now then, John?
So this is the corridor connection which enables you to swap crews en route. And they would normally have done this somewhere just north of York, at Tolleson.
Right.
It was about halfway between London and Edinburgh. Now the gentleman involved would be two crews, a driver and a fireman. They would do one part of the journey, another driver and fireman swap over and do the second part. They would sit in the compartment of the carriage behind the loco.
Oh, I see. So that they would have their own little area, and at the right time, they would come through this corridor,
Yeah.
swap over, and take over.
That's it.
Can you actually turn round in there?
I can't.
Do we have to get up? Okay, we're going up this way.
Not back out.
Oh, we can go this way, John. Oh no, we can't. Oh, maybe we can. Hang on. Try have a look. There's a gate. Oh, is it gate locked? Okay. Spin round.
Yeah. So we can go back the other way.
Okay.
Now,
Quite a route, isn't it?
now it's tight, but let me tell you how this was designed. If the more space you take up with this corridor, the less water you can carry. And that was a bit of a compromise. So you didn't want to lose too much water space. So it's been designed to fit what the designer thought was the largest person that would likely come down the corridor, and that was himself. So to do his calculations, he arranged his dining room chairs in such a fashion that he could crawl behind them, then measure the gap, and if he could get through that gap, he reasoned that any of his drivers could do the same. So that's where he got the dimensions from to form the corridor in the tenders.
That is wonderfully British and eccentric.
That's the way it's done. Nothing more practical than that.
So you're about the maximum size, John.
I think I am actually. Don't want to go in anymore.
What's right, John?
And I'm just going to say, John, thank you very much. What a pleasure.
Glad
What
you
an
enjoyed
experience.
that. Come back again, have another go.